We all share in the message of hope for mankind that the Feast of Tabernacles pictures. The mission of preaching the gospel to all the world is built upon this hope. The United Church of God is working in some new and exciting ways to preach that message and care for God's disciples no matter where they are. Peter Eddington will update us on our expansion to streaming services. And then finally, we'll take a look at the challenging and inspiring work being done to preach the gospel in India. But first, we'll talk to Gary Petty about the impact of Beyond Today live events.
You see, when you understand God's purpose for your life, it changes everything.
This is about having God come into your life to change you, to make you into His child.
For about a year now, we've been doing these Beyond Today live seminars and just traveling all over the country. And it's been very exciting to go meet different people. You know, Mr. Kubik had a very definite concept of what he wanted to achieve, and that is to be a link between people who watch the program or get the magazine, or think of the hundreds of thousands of people that come onto the website. But we have to connect them to the church. How do we make that jump? And how do we make a personal connection with them? And this way, we give them the information, and then we try to hand them off to the local pastor. Everything we do in media is to draw people in to God and the information. But the relationships, that happens one-on-one. The relationships, the real discipling happens inside of congregations. The purpose is a connection between what we do in media and the local church, and that's what we're trying to accomplish. You know, one of the things that's been encouraging to us is every place we have gone, local members have come and been incredibly supportive. They're there to help and to serve and to talk with them, how excited they are, and to watch them interact with people that they know are new. You know, hey, that's not a member of my congregation. And to see that people realize they're part of this too. This isn't just these guys do this, or these writers do this, or these presenters. No. We're all involved in this. Preaching the gospel is something we all do. Every member of the congregation is involved. And to see them there, to see them involved, to see them talking to people and answering their questions, I think personally that this is an important lesson. It's an exercise in reaching out beyond ourselves, because if we just get to be congregations that are inward, we'll die. We have to be looking outward to where God's working and what God is doing. And we're supposed to bring this message to people even if they don't respond. We're supposed to give it. And to watch people do that, for me, has been encouraging and makes me want to keep doing Beyond Today and things because of what people in the church are doing.
Looking good so far. We've got a lot of sign-ups, expecting a lot of guests tonight, and praying that our presenters will nail it.
You know, one important thing we're trying to do here is we're trying to reach people where they are. Sometimes we expect people to come to us where we are, and we forget the process we all went through where God called us and the steps we took. We see the Apostle Paul, perfect example of a person who went where people were. He went to Rome. He went to Athens. He stood up on the street corners at times and said, look, I have a message for you. The preaching of the gospel is something everybody is supposed to be involved in, and it's active. It's not just sitting back waiting. And that's what makes these events so important.
Yeah, we're setting up a camera here tonight. Jamie's going to get some promo shots tonight. We have 2 screens. They're kind of like set pieces. We'll have America the Time Is Now logo on there. Also, there'll be some of the slides from the guy's presentation. We got a good team. Setup's going smooth so far.
The crew spends a lot of time and effort and work setting up, taking down, running the slides and so forth. And there are times when I've admitted, I've thought, we're going to have to travel 8 hours to get there and 8 hours back. But every time I've gone to one, I've come away with a positive feeling God's doing something. In the end, that's what this is all about. We're not supposed to bring people to us. We're supposed to bring people to God. And when you see people come, and they ask questions, and they're excited. You see where God's touching their lives. That's what it's all about. We're preaching the gospel, and then we're trying to care for the people that God calls. And this is all about preaching the gospel of the kingdom of God until Christ returns.
While Beyond Today Live reaches people in an intimate setting, we're also developing ways to reach people in their homes more easily. Now that more and more people are moving away from cable TV, streaming devices are in millions of homes. Let's take a look at how we're making Beyond Today and the Bible's message of hope available on demand any time of day.
The number of internet users worldwide is right around 3.4 billion people. So around 44% of the world's population use the internet regularly. And so that's why we at the United Church of God are putting a lot more emphasis on streaming technology and online video. We've developed apps that are available on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, and on a whole host of smart televisions like Samsung TVs, for example. And what these do is enable our viewers to watch us right on their television sets as before, but in a much more flexible way than is possible just through satellite TV or cable TV or even over-the-air broadcast TV, where the program comes on at just one particular hour on one day of each week. Now it's on demand and people can watch it when it's convenient for them. One lady told us she watched 10 Beyond Today programs in a row and then called our pastor to get more information about the church. And so you can binge watch religion too if you want. The message that changed our lives is the same message that can change other people's lives. The message of God's kingdom is a message that brings hope to people who are looking for answers. In the past, the church capitalized on the emerging media of the time, whether it was radio or early versions of print and magazines, black and white television. Now we have the internet, and now connected to the internet are streaming apps. Time will tell, but we believe that the seeds we are sowing will germinate and will bear fruit at the right time and as God wills. We've been given a job to do. Please pray for God to bless the work and effort of His church in caring for the flock and in preaching the gospel of the kingdom of God.
From the beginning, the United Church of God set out a twofold mission: preaching the gospel and preparing a people. This mission is global in scope, and now we're going to look at how it's being accomplished in India.
So I said in my heart, with tears in my eyes, I lifted up my hands and I said, "Who is this God? Seek me and tell me, come to me, the true God I want, not the God, a false God."
India is the world's second most populous country. Its size and diversity presents unique challenges for preaching the gospel, as well as unique opportunities for making new disciples of Jesus Christ. India has 1.3 billion people, all living in an area 1/3 the size of the continental United States. Of India's 1.3 billion, only about 2 to 3% of people identify as Christian. To put that into perspective, the Christian population of India is still larger than the total population of Australia.
We're here in India, and it's the Sabbath, and we're on our way to a city called Gurudwara. We're going to meet a man there by the name of Joseph Usala, who we've seen, probably this is about our third time we've had a chance to visit with him. And he's arranged for a couple of meetings today with some ministers in the region. So that's what's going to be happening today, and we hope and pray that God will inspire everything that takes place.
Dave Schreiber and his wife Jalinda, along with a few other volunteers, have been traveling to India, visiting people who have come across the gospel message and the United Church of God.
We're going to talk about the God of this Bible. We're going to talk about the God that's in this Bible. And God says in the next verse, verse 12, He says, "When you call upon me and pray to me, I will listen to you."
In 2012, Pastor David Scriber has come to the India, and I have translated his messages, and it was very inspiring. And he has preached about the Saturday Sabbath day. And as I have been studying the Bible, I came to know that it is not the Sabbath day is not on Sunday; it is on Saturday.
We're here in Visakhapatnam, and we're about to meet with a group of 11 people from Jagapeta. And they're led by a man who found us on the website, the United Church of God. He's begun to understand some of our scriptural understandings of the Sabbath and of the Kingdom of God. And so we're looking forward to spending some time with them today to go into these topics a little bit further.
India is primarily a Hindu nation. Since Hinduism doesn't have a universally recognized weekly day of worship, most businesses and schools have a 6-day work week.
So the school where my children are studying is an Hindu school, and all the teachers are Hindus. But here we have a problem that my children will be at a house or go to church on every Sabbath. So the management will not permits that, but according to the commandment of a God, so I don't send my children to the school on every Sabbath day.
I didn't go to school on Sabbath day, and I will go Monday to school. They give me a punishment for 2 hours. They stand outside.
On top of the religious challenges, day-to-day living can be difficult as well. Many of the people we're working with have very little in the way of physical wealth. People rely on God to provide. For new contacts, many of whom are coming from other Christian churches, we're focusing on some of the basic doctrinal points of the Bible, like the Sabbath or the festivals.
Now, Jesus Christ was baptized. Why did he have to be baptized?
I came from the Sunday keeper. Yes, I don't know what is Sabbath, I don't know festivals, I don't know what is that. But 4 years back, one of my friend invited to the conference. David Scriber explained about the Sabbath or the festivals. He telling of the truth and also showing that scriptures correctly. And he gives some books who is presented by United Church of God. Holidays and holy days, some of the books are there. And also some of the topics he presented freely.
Many of our Indian contacts have been incredibly helpful to the church in translating our literature into the local languages.
We want to proclaim Torah, we want to preach the gospel. So our best way is to introduce the United Church of God International Association, because they have a very very good study materials also. And we translate a few of their booklets in Mizoram. And apart from that, translating, we also distribute their booklets like this kind of booklets we have given to the interested person. In that way, we used to proclaim the true gospel of kingdom.
In a country of 1.3 billion people, millions of gods, and countless insurmountable social problems, the gospel of the kingdom of God is alive and it is powerful. Many of those who are in contact with us explain that the gods of Hinduism don't offer hope for the future. Our God, though, is able to create hope where there formerly was none. Please pray for the work that is being done in India. Please pray for our Indian brethren and for those who God is still in the process of calling to Him. And most importantly, please pray for the coming of Jesus Christ and the kingdom of peace that He will bring with Him.
What are some of the things that it says here in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4? It says there's going to be what? What's going to happen? What do we read here? There's going to be a shout. Okay, so is it going to happen secretly?